I love that you are curious about Chiron. That means that there is some part of you that is working on or is ready for a level of emotional healing. I am Jodine Sher of Lifeology. I am a self awareness guide and a spiritual teacher, and I use astrology as an incredible blueprint and a support because we are not supposed to be blindly figuring our way through life. We have our blueprint and we have the understanding and the gift of astrology handed down to us to do things like understand ourselves better and work through emotional well-being, which is extremely important to me. Chiron is the wounded healer. Chiron represents any recurring emotional wound that you carry throughout your life. And what can happen is that when you work with Chiron, the potential is that it becomes the healing support that you hold either for yourself or other people. You grow and have wisdom throughout it. And the biggest thing is that you have greater self-awareness when you work with this Chiron energy. It is specifically placed in your birth chart at the moment of your birth. So if you look at your birth chart and you see the symbol that looks like a key, then that is going to tell you where Chiron is, and it's going to tell you the zodiac sign that is governing Chiron, which is extremely important because then that is going to give you clues to understand where to look in your everyday life to see where your repeated lifelong wound is. The toughest part is to figure out what this repeated wound is. So if you understand that you can go into your blueprint and there is a gift of saying, this is the part of your life that it is sitting in. It's so important to grab that gift and to use it as much as you can. So on the 3rd of August, 2026, Chiron stationed retrograde in Taurus. It's been in Aries for a really long time. And then it went into Taurus. Now it is going to station retrograde. And then retrograde means it's going to give the illusion that it's moving backwards. But what it does do is in that moving backwards, it's going to return to Aries on the 18th of September. And then it is going to once again have to go through the remainder of Aries and return to Taurus again. It happens on the 6th of January. And then it is going to stay in Chiron for quite a while. This is important because retrogrades offer you the opportunity to slow down and to reflect. In my self-awareness work, I use retrogrades all the time to help you observe yourself in a greater honesty in the time of that planet that is doing the retrograde. They do not create a different wound. They simply have a way of drawing your attention towards your patterns that makes you understand what your wound is doing. So, if you are using astrology content or following anyone in astrology, and they are not making it absolutely clear that Taurus in Chiron is not creating a wound. Taurus in Chiron is activating something within your personal wound. Then my suggestion is to become more curious about who you can find to use astrology and make sure that the purpose of astrology is to help you understand yourself. And the only way that you can understand yourself is when it is personalized. And this Taurus Chiron is going to be asking for that kind of energy. It's going to be asking for you to dig into how you experience your wound. Chiron in Taurus is going to provide a wider lens over your natal Chiron. It is going to ask you to have a look at the exact zodiac sign and the house that your Chiron theme is in, And then what it's going to do is it's going to create the theme of value. What is valuable? Is your worthiness equated to what you have? You really and truly begin to see any kind of emotional patterns that work around your values, being grounded in what you have. Another thing that can really happen is that you can have come from a family where values weren't instilled, or where material values were more important than emotional values, or you were only respected or praised when you achieved certain things. So now, if you do not achieve, and a lot of the time it becomes not achieving financially, then you don't have the ability to anchor a level of worthiness into who you are without the material achievement. And that's the reason why Taurus returns in retrograde to Aries, because when Chiron is in Aries, it is asking you to have a look, find your natal Aries. So, where is Aries being governed in your birth chart? Because that is the place where you may need to put more consciousness and awareness into the ability to say, this is who I am. I am proud to stand as an individual. I am proud to initiate my own things. I am proud to run with my curiosity. I am worthy of standing as an individual. So Chiron Aries has been witnessing everything that you have been doing and experiencing in Chiron Taurus. Then Chiron Taurus retrograde gives you the opportunity to see what you have been noticing and what you have been witnessing around your values, around your decisions, any sense of value influence where you have had to protect or invest in energy, and that energy can be your physical energy, financial energy. It's all linked into the same energy flow. Grounding also fits into this conversation because Taurus is extremely earthly, right? So you could think that grounding is walking barefoot on the earth, and it is. It absolutely is. It's spending time in nature that is so important. But those practices get you so far. It's important to remember that your values, before making any really important decision, helps you to ground that decision. As soon as you can understand why you are making the decision the way you are, and understand that you are not losing yourself in any kind of the decisions that you make, that is when Chiron Taurus is going to know that you have worked so hard into your personal blueprint, Chiron. And then Chiron Aries is going to help you really establish the worthiness that you have so you can anchor it moving forward. I do want to put a disclaimer that this work is continuous. It goes on for all of your life. And I have seen content that I just call so many things behind the scenes, but that really and truly are clickbait, like marketing ploys in order for you to fall into a place of fear, fear-based marketing used by astrology, where it gives timelines and gives deadlines, and it's saying if you don't do this, or there's a guarantee that this is going to happen. Please never forget that astrology is separate from your free will. What we got as human beings was the ability to choose. And if you choose differently, you can absolutely change any direction within your life. So to have a prediction and say that something is certain is impossible, especially when it comes to this kind of work. If you feel like this time around you haven't managed to deal with all the levels of worthiness that you wish that you could, or you come out of this Chiron retrograde and get into Aries once again, and still things maybe don't shift with your own personal values, with your earthly possessions, with money. I know that it so often emotional well-being is linked into money. It doesn't mean that you are getting it wrong. It means that the journey of continuously remaining conscious is supporting you every step of the way. My work is to unravel so much of the voice that has been put into the social media and into the manifestation space, that you just have to think positive and all these things are going to come along. And if you do the work, something must change. That means that if you are doing the work and something doesn't change, the ego mind is simply going to return to, I'm doing something wrong, which is not true. Any level of curiousness that you pay to yourself at any point in time is moving you forward and is supporting you. I promise you that. So if you have any questions on how to work with this time, this retrograde time, with your personal astrology, then please let me know. I create a personality blueprint, and it really supports you through understanding your personality. A lot of people have come to me and said, I have my birth chart with me. And when I read through what they have been given, a lot of it is outside of themselves. Everything that I do is purely for you to understand and have a healthier relationship with yourself. If you are not feeling just diving into work with me, then I always offer a 30-minute insight. It's just an instant insight chat. If you have your birth chart, you can bring it along. If you don't have your birth chart, I will create your birth chart for you, and we'll have half an hour to explore anything that you need, that you just feel is going to give you a breath of getting out of this energy that is surrounding us, and pushing this, do you know yourself? What are you going to do about yourself? When it should be a calm, joyous journey to just be curious about yourself. So if there's been any fear mongering around you when it has come to this Chiron retrograde, Taurus Chiron, Aries in Chiron, please let it go. It is not the gift of what astrology has the core and the foundation in. So you take care. And can I just ask, if you aren't following, to please follow the YouTube channel so it can grow, because my purposefulness is to just reach and help and support as many people as possible. And if you feel that this can help anybody that you know, then please share it along.